Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Varun Pawar, and welcome back to my channel, which is Certified Business Analysis Professional. And I hope you are liking my videos. So far, we are about to complete the four major knowledge areas, and so far we were discussing on requirement analysis and design definition. The activities and the task that we have completed is specify and model requirement, verify requirement, validate requirement, define requirement architecture, and today we'll start define design options. So what are design and what are the solution? So what are the designs in terms of the business analysis? So assume we have to create a login screen for a mobile app. We have different ways to create that. So we have first way to do this is this way. The second design could be this way. This is the third way how we can design it. And the fourth way how we can design it. There are a difference between the designs uh, in terms of the software development. When we say the design, or when a designer is designing any application, designing is basically a prototype, right? So here we are referring to the one of the prototype, that how the solution will look like later on. How the solution is different from the design is the solution is a working and a operational model, which suppose right now you cannot do anything, you cannot enter username, you cannot enter password, you cannot do login on these designs. These are the for the visualization purpose, how your solution will look like at the end. So solution is basically a operational model or operational product, and the designs is a kind of a design, how the solution will look like. It's not a operational prototype. So there are different components of a solution. So the components could be the username and the password. These are two input fields. These are the component. The second thing is the sharing options. These are the Google and the Facebook. Uh, uh, so these are the another component. The login button is another component. This remember me option is another component, and this image is another component. So there are different components that is combined together to create a solution. Many time it could be possible that you are doing a trade-off, means that you do not want these Google and Facebook option because these are not adding any extra value. So you could take them away, this component, make it an application little bit lighter in terms of the requirement, because two or one requirement is taken off, because without that also your application could work. So these are the trade-offs, or it could be possible you are taking away this image, or you are doing a trade-off that okay, no need of an image at all, so it could be blank. That could be another trade-offs that you can do. So design, the solution options, and the components. So I hope you are able to relate it with this application or this design and the solution that I said. On the same time, these are the online application that we are relating it, but it could be possible that you have a physical stuff, like a car. So car, what there could be different designs for the car, and these designs are just the look and feel. When these designs are make you create a prototype of these designs, a working operational stuff that could make a prototype. can be do not include the full functionality, but it is very much possible to show you the inline or underline functionalities of the solution. So suppose you have different designs for a car, you finally come to one prototype of that car, a small car, and that small car is showing you all the stuff, all the components related to the working model that will come later when everything is finalized. So I hope you relate now the design, the components, the solutions, and then we can move ahead. Objectives are define design options is to define the solution approach, that how we will make a solution, identify opportunities to improve the business, allocate requirements across solution components, and represent design options that achieve the desired future state. When designing a solution, there may be one or more design options identified. So as I shows you in there are different mobile login screens. So these are the different design options available. Then you finalize that. Each design option represent a way to satisfy a set of requirements, and it's like a different requirements together make a solution. It's not like one requirement is making a solution. So each design options represent a way to satisfy a set of requirements. Design options exist at a lower level than the change strategy and are tactical rather than strategic. So strategic is something a long term, a kind of a vision, and the tactical is basically the short term missions, how to achieve that goal. So design option exist at a lower level. So when we are talking about the design options, these are not the tactical, means these are not as per the long term vision plans. These are based on the short term objectives to achieve. As a solution is developed, tactical trade-offs may need to be made among design alternatives. So we have already talked about tactic trade-offs, so you can relate it with that. Business analysts must assess the effect these trade-offs will have on the delivery of value to the stakeholders. So you can add more, you can remove some of the components or the requirements from the solution, from that solution scope, because it could or it could not add value. So accordingly, you take a call on that. As initiatives progress and requirements evolve, design options evolve as well. Now, this is how the inputs and the outputs work. So the first input we have here, requirements validated and prioritized. So when we are saying requirements validated, so this validated keyword comes two times. The first time when you are taking a sign off on a requirement. During this requirement analysis and design definition, we have talked about specify and model requirement. Then we have verified the requirement. Then we have validated the requirement. The validation of the requirement happens with the user when you finally take a sign off from them that they all are agree on that requirement part. Then finally the design is being created and the solution is built. The final solution, before going to the final solution, the design and the prototype of that solution is being also shown to the user, and a solution sign off is being taken that this will look like this, the function will work like this. So user gave a sign off on that. So that is solution validation. And solution is something that is operational, a working prototype, right? So only validated requirements are considered in design options. Now assume if the requirement is not signed off by the user and you are going with the verified requirement, what would happen? When you have created a design options, then user would say, oh, that was not really asked for. This is not what they asked for, and we have implemented it in a different way. So this arises because the requirement is not signed off by the user. So it's very important that requirement is validated. How about the prioritized? Prioritize something when you do the backlog prioritization, the requirement based on the value, you prioritized it on a, you ranked it on higher, right? So these are the prioritized, like the critical requirements is taken up. Then we have change strategy. It describes the approach that will be followed to transition to the future state. This may have some impact on design decisions in terms of the feasibility. Then we have requirement architecture, and I hope you understood the requirement architecture that we have taken in our last session. So full set of requirements and their relationship is important for defining design options that can address the holistic set of requirements. So as I said, like a requirement, the solution is not like one requirement, like the set of requirements go together to make a solution. And the solution is standardized, and there is no conflict, no ambiguity. So we have to also consider the requirement architecture, that all the requirements are standardized, that forming a one concrete solution that is giving a value to the stakeholders. And all the how would I say, like full set of requirements and their relationship. The relationship is the important keyword, that how they are related together or related with each other, those requirements, that is finally giving a holistic picture of that solution. So that is important to understand and need to consider when you are defining a design options. Then we have existing solution. So the input are like existing products or a services, it could be third party, are considered as a component of a design option. So when we said components, so I said like the login input fields like login password, or another component like remember password, or the Facebook, the sharing options, or the image. So these are the different components. So similarly, to make a design options, we consider here the existing products or services. It could be third party to make a design option. Future state description. So you should know what should be the future state. How should that solution look like? So accordingly, we create a design options. So decide the state of the enterprise that the design options will be part of, and helps to ensure design options are viable. Requirements traced. Define the design options that best fulfill known requirements. So what is traced? So when we are saying that the requirement is traced, this means if a need is arised, that need made a business requirement for you, that business requirement finally translated to the solution requirement, and the solution requirement finally translated to the functional and the non-functional. In between, the transition requirement comes. So if we see the life cycle of a one requirement, how this arised, how then this been defined, how this been then related, how this been is being developed and fulfilled, so that the complete backward and the forward picture of this requirement is known as tracing. So define, so the requirements that we are seeing traced, this means define the design options that best fulfill known requirements. Means if we trace it back for what objective this requirement came, is finally fulfilling that objective. So this is known as requirement traced. Then solution scope. Define the boundaries when selecting a viable design options. So whenever we are creating a design options, the we have to set the boundaries, that the new requirement, whether fitting within that boundary or not, if that is not fitting in within that boundary, we have to take that off. So that way we have to define the solution scope in order to define a design options. And then finally, we design options, it's been created. So various ways to satisfy one or more needs in a context. They may include solution approach, potential improvement opportunities provided by the option, and the components that define the options. Then what are the elements? So first is define solution approaches. So what approaches you are taking there to make a solution, whether you are creating a new solution, or you are purchasing that solution, or it could be a combination of both. Just for an example, uh, we have to create a mobile app, right? Let's say we are creating a banking app. Whether you can create it from scratch, you set up your own entire team within your organization and build that application. That is the one approach, that you create it. The second approach is you purchase it. So there are a lot of vendors available who are creating those mobile applications for their customers. So you could become one of the customer and purchase that mobile application from them, a banking app, and then you do some customization on that. The third option is combination of both create and purchase. So it could be possible that you need some of the customization on top of the application. So you could able to do that. So that uh, that open the flexibility to do that modernization or customization on the purchase application should be there. So that is a combination of both. So that's why I said the solution approach describes whether solution components will be created or purchased or some combination of both. So business analysts assess the merits of the solution approaches for each design option. So whether you are creating that design options to finally make it a solution, whether purchasing or combination of both. So identify improvement opportunities. When proposing design options, a number of opportunities to improve the operation of the business may occur and are compared. So these are like increased efficiencies. What you are doing to do this is either you are automating or simplifying the work by re-engineering. You are improving access to the information. It's like provide greater amount of information to staff who interface directly or indirectly with customers, thereby reducing the need for the specialist. The third way is identify additional capabilities. Here, highlight the capabilities that have the potential to provide future value and can be supported by the solution. These capabilities may not necessarily be an immediate value to the organization. Then we have third element, which is requirements allocation. So how you are allocating the requirements? So we are allocating the requirements to a release. That release will comprises of a complete one solution. So we are aligning the requirements, tagging the requirements to the release, and only those requirements which is adding value, right? So requirement allocation is the process of assigning requirements to solution components and releases to best achieve the objectives. Allocation is supported by assessing the trade-offs between alternatives in order to maximize benefits and minimize the cost. The value of a solution might vary depending on how requirements are implemented and when the solution becomes available to the stakeholders. The objective of allocation is to maximize that value. That's very important. You have to note it down. That why we do requirement allocation is to maximize the value. Describe design options. Design options are investigated and developed while considering the desired future state. And in order to ensure that design option is valid, solution performance measures are defined for each design options. So we have created three different design options for finally that will translate it to one solution. Those design options is being investigated, and in order to ensure the design option is valid, solution performance measures are defined for each design options, like the performance, how to measure the performance of a solution, right? So for one design, these are the performance criterias. For second design, these are the performance criterias to measure the performance. These are so the different design options is created based on the trade-offs, and when you are doing a trade-offs, there would be definitely a performance measures, different performance measures you have to set, or it could be the same performance measures you are setting for three different design options, and which design options will give you the good performance, you would be finalizing that for a solution. A design option usually consists of many design components, each described by a design element. Design elements may describe business policies, business rules, business processes, people, softwares, organized structure, customers, suppliers. These are different things, like when we are building a mobile application, so there are different components we are adding. Those components might or might not related to some other physical or virtual things. So that's why the business rules you put, how the process will flow, like when you are logging in, logging in an application, you are giving your username and the password. So three times if you give incorrect password, your account will be blocked. So that is one business rule, right? And these business rules is guided by the policies that the organization set. So these are the business policies. And the like once you log in into the mobile application, you would be showed a dashboard where these many things will be shown, A, B, C, D, E, F, different modules. So these are the business, how the different modules like financial, and then we have the supply chain, we have then the ESS, like the self-service, or we have some transition or transport module. So different modules you have been shown, which is guided by the business processes again further. Who are the people who are involved in those different modules? So these are people. What software is involved to make this application work is a software. Then organization structure, what customers are involved in with that application, or third party vendors or suppliers who are supporting that application. So these are the different elements we are saying that support a, a requirement solution or design options. Who are the stakeholders? So domain subject matter expert, who provides inputs while evaluating different solution or alternatives. Then implementation subject matter expert, who provide inputs for the constraints of solution and its cost. Operational support can help evaluating the difficulty and cost of integrating proposed solution with existing system. The project manager, who plan and manage solution definition process and also manage the risk. And the supplier, the third party vendor could be possible, provides information on functionality associated with a particular design option. So you can directly relate like supplier, then what we said, like one of the part, it could help you to support whether he would able to support that application in that way or not, as per your business rules or not. So that is how supplier give information. Then we have techniques. So different techniques we are here. The benchmarking and market analysis is one of them, to identify and analyze solution and market trends. So when we said like how could you do design options, like either you create, you purchase, or the combination of both. So when you go in a market and to do some analysis, then you come to the conclusion whether you have to create or purchase it, right? The brainstorming, the second technique, it helps identify improvement opportunities and the design options. Document analysis, to provide information needed to describe design options and design elements. And then you have interviews, where it helps identify improvement opportunities and design options. Then we have lesson learned, to help identify improvement opportunities. Mind mapping, to identify and explore possible design options. The root cause analysis, to understand the underlying causes of the problems. The survey or the questionnaire, to help identify improvement opportunities and design options. Vendor assessment, then when we said like it's a supplier, vendor, third party, then vendor assessment is important for that. Assessment of a third party solution with an assessment of the vendor, to ensure that the solution is viable and all parties will be able to develop and maintain a healthy working relationship. We have then last the workshop, used to help identify improvement opportunities and design options. So that's it from the technique part. And I hope you understand defined design options, how it's related to the requirement architecture, requirements validation, because these are the inputs. And I hope you are liking my videos and you are getting a lot of information, and it would definitely benefit you in your examination for the CBAP. I'll meet you in our next session, which would probably our last, and then we'll continue with the different knowledge areas. Keep posting your questions and keep liking my videos. Till then, take care and goodbye.